Tonight, the year-on-year inflation rate for the month of November has gone up to 8.2% from 7.7% in October. The increase was influenced by a marginal rise in prices of food and alcoholic beverages over the period. Now, the current rate represents a difference of 5%. And here is the government statistician Samuel Kobnainim with more.
A difference of 0.5 percentage points between the October rate, which fell at 7.7%. According to government statistician Professor Samuel Kobnainim, the growth in inflation figures mean a marginal increase in general price of goods.
This literally can be interpreted as general price levels between November 2019 and November 2018 have gone up by 8.2%. Further to this, month-on-month inflation, that is monthly inflation, in which case we compare October 2019 and November 2019, shows that there's a difference of 0.7%. That is, general price levels have gone up by 0.7% between the month of October 2019 and November 2019. To put these figures in a context, we share with you the year-on-year inflation for October 2018 and October 2019. And for October 2018 and October 2019, as we presented last month, the year-on-year inflation was 7.7%. Relative to the year-on-year inflation for November 2018 and November 2019, there's a 0.5 difference.
He's also been explaining the main drivers for the trend.
5 divisions had rates either equal to the 8.2 or higher than 8.2. And when we are interpreting these divisions, we need to be mindful of the weights that are associated with these divisions. So although we see alcoholic beverages, tobacco, and narcotics recording 13.4%, which is about 5.2% higher than the national average, its impact on the 8.2% should take cognizance of the weight associated with this. So the 5 items that had rates above or equal to the national average are alcoholic beverages, tobacco, and narcotics, transport, housing, water, electricity, and gas, food and non-alcoholic beverages, and personal care and miscellaneous goods.
Meanwhile, the Ghana Statistical Service is calling for cooperation in its upcoming 2020 census.
All right, so inflation going up by 0.5%, reaching 8.2% in the month of November. Let's make sense of this. Joining us is Courage Mate via the phone, I believe. Courage, thanks for your time tonight. What's your reading of the latest figures?
Well, thanks for having me, Darrell. If you look at the new print of 8.2% within a context of the rebased CPI, then you feel a little uneasy because when we rebased the CPI, it knocked inflation down to as low as 7.6% in September. Now we appear to be climbing above 8% again within this same rebased CPI. And then you want to ask, if we had not rebased the CPI, what would that have meant for the old series? Now, again, what this also means is that essentially we are feeling the pinch of the tax measures that were announced in the mid-year budget because it took some time to get going. Then also the utility tariff hike for Q4 is also having a pinch or a more pressing impact now. And then the city also has suffered its own issues. And we also see that even after the November CPI data, the city even has suffered more losses. And all this just means that Q4 2019 is a period of high price pressures. And this is how, what it means. Basically, cost of funds, cost of capital is expected to remain high. And again, that is why it will be difficult to also see a situation where lenders like banks and investors that would bid for government of Ghana papers would be reluctant to reduce the interest rate they would want on it because of the risk that this high inflation poses to their investment.
And the city is not doing any better. It continues to depreciate against major international trading currencies. What do you project it to be to look like in December as we end the year?
Well, so with the current situation, it's more of course, the seasonality, but then you also see a bit of government high external obligation playing a role in that, and investors also not willing to reinvest the coupons they earn. The problem now is that once a certain sentiment has set into the foreign exchange market, it becomes difficult to quell it quickly unless there is a significant intervention from the central bank. At the moment, we are seeing the FX forward auctions, and I believe that that particular one should be what would ease the pressure a little bit. However, I think that we also need to look at the general market dynamics and see that demand is outstripping supply, and we cannot rule out further depreciation to the end of the year, at least some controlled pace of depreciation.
Very insightful as always. Thanks very much indeed, Courage Mate. Now, some aggrieved customers of collapsed savings and loans companies have expressed disappointment at how government has treated them with regards to payment of their locked-up funds. They want government to form a consolidated savings and loans company to address their issues, as has been done for customers of universal banks and investment companies. Prince Apia has more.
On the 16th of August 2019, 23 savings and loans companies and finance houses in Kanchi licenses were revoked by the Bank of Ghana. As a result, the customers of these companies were plunged into a state of worry and confusion, because for them they had to wait for text messages to indicate when to come to the banks to withdraw monies.
We haven't heard anything from them. My 3.7 million cedis is locked up. I won't be able to even buy chicken for my children this Christmas. Government should help us.
That 3.1 or something billion.
The capped amount has now been increased from 10,000 to 20,000, which is not enough. To the extent that if you are going to pay somebody whose money is being locked up to the tune of 1 million to 5 million, an amount of just 20,000, we see it as excuse my language, as an insult. To the extent that we are equally Ghanaians as those in the universal banks whose funds were consolidated.
They want authorities to come to their aid. As a result, today they held a press conference drumming home their issues to at least treat them just like customers of the universal banks.
We prefer that a consolidated savings and loans institution or microfinance institution is being formed so that all our accounts can be migrated there and our funds being credited in the accounts, to the extent that if funds at the moment are not available to pay all of us, we'll be very happy that even some restrictions being attached to the withdrawal process or procedure, to the extent that maybe a period can be given as to which you can withdraw a certain amount of money within a certain period of time. With that, we'll be a bit pleased and a bit consoled and comforted. But if the current trend should continue, whereby you wait till you receive a text message before you can go to any nearby CBG branch to make a withdrawal, to the extent that those of us who are affected in First Allied, as I speak with you now, our issue is in court together with GN and UniCredit, to the extent that the receiver says until the court case is finalized, they are not going to validate us or even pay us. And as to when that is going to happen, nobody knows. After Christmas, and we don't hear any good news, there's going to be a series of agitations. There's going to be a series of press conferences and demonstrations to help retrieve our funds. We have to do that.
They say they are going to continue to press on their challenges until the authorities come to their aid. My name is Prince Apia reporting from Kumasi.
Now, the Bank of Ghana has rejected claims it is working to determine salaries and compensation packages for bank executives in the country. According to the bank, it has rather begun an engagement with boards and senior executives of banks to ensure that customers are not made to bear the risk of the cost of banks' poor performance. Here is Ebenezer Sabote's report.
This Deputy Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Maxwell Pokwaferi, told journalists The decision by the Bank of Ghana to agree with bank managers on compensations is in the interest of customers. He gave the clarification in an interview with selected journalists at the annual training program for members of the Journalists for Business Advocacy.
And then another one reported that the Bank of Ghana is going to cap the salaries of bank CEOs. But please, the emphasis here is to look at how we can align their compensation with the performance of their loans. If your assets are deteriorating, then how should you continue to reward yourself at the expense of your deteriorating assets? And that's what we want to engage the banks with, so that we can make sure that they don't pass on their inefficiencies to you by compensating themselves very high at the expense of their deteriorating assets.
On the new reference rate, the Bank of Ghana believes individual reference for customers will drive down interest rates. Dr. Masola Ferry has also been explaining the importance of the new credit reference system by the central bank.
That we have introduced the Ghana reference rate, which has replaced the base rate. So when you walk into a bank to borrow, the lending rate that is being quoted to you, there is a portion of it that is the Ghana reference rate. At the moment, the Ghana reference rate is about 16.25 or thereabout. So if you walk into a bank...
The workshop is an annual event by EcoBank Ghana to update economic journalists on the ongoing trends in the financial sector.
Now, the managing director of German trade show specialist Fair Trade, Paul Mars, has called for the need to intensify the use of technology in agri development. According to him, an agri technology has become very important to productivity. He said this at the opening of the 6th International Trade Show on Agri-Food and Plus Print Park in Accra.
Agricultural modernization has been touted as a major prerequisite for enhancing agri productivity. The managing director of Fair Trade, Paul Mars, advocated the need to leverage on technology to improve agriculture. He was speaking at the 6th International Trade Show on Agri-Food and Plastic Print Park, a platform to address agricultural issues such as packaging, technology and finance.
The fast growth of the West African market from 2017 to 2018, imports of machinery in the field of food and beverage technology was growing by 17% to 534 million euros. Imports of plastics technology was growing even by 22% to 219 million euros, according to VDMA, the German Mechanical Engineering Industry Association.
The Tunisian ambassador to Ghana, Egan Oleren, praised government's initiative towards agriculture and said it will help generate employment.
Agricultural production and agribusiness are of importance to all countries. We commend the efforts of the Ghanaian government to boost the sector through the flagship projects such as Planting for Food and Jobs, Rearing for Food and Jobs, One District, One Factory, One Village, One Dam, among others. The sector is fundamental to economic growth of the country. At present, it is an employment locomotive amounting to more than 40% of employment of the country.
This international trade show brings together various stakeholders in agribusiness. Alberto Bisius reports for Joy Business.
Now, for 3 years, the farmers' market has been supplying consumers in Accra fresh fruits and vegetables sourced from various farms across the country and abroad. The upscale fruits and vegetable supplier is now venturing into cultivation on its own using the latest technology. We'll tell you more on today's episode of the Joy Business Van. Well, Christmas is just around the corner, and I'm sure fresh fruits and vegetables will be on the menu. And I'm at one of the best places to shop for some of these products. That's the Farmers Market.
Hi. Hello. You are very much welcome to the Farmers Market.
Thank you.
My name is Bernard, and we are very happy that you are here.
Great. I guess you're going to help me with the shop.
Definitely. So we're going to go around.
The Farmers Market stocks the widest variety of fresh fruits and vegetables sourced from various farms across the country and abroad. It also stocks locally processed agro products.
We know where we buy every single thing from. So some of them are produced by our own farms, and we also work with a network of farmers. What we do is that every single farmer that we work with, we go to their farm. We know how they produce their things, so issues of gutter water and excess chemicals and everything, when you buy from the farmers market, you are sure that you don't have any of those problems.
The farmers market was opened in 2016 by fruits and vegetables wholesaler White Beige International Limited.
White Beige started about 12 years ago as a farming company. We were growing okras and chilies and exporting them to the UK for so-called foreign currency. Over time, we realized that there was a need and there was a market locally. So we started looking within to see what we can do to serve the local market.
The idea was to create a one-stop shop for the sale of fruits and vegetables at relatively low cost to the public and create a market for farmers.
So we do all the checks necessary with our suppliers to ensure that the things that we buy from them are of good quality. We don't end there. The supply chain is very important. So we have a cold chain system that we use to transport our things. So if you go to our warehouse, we've got cold storage spaces that we keep the things there. Then we transport them in cold vans to the various shops. And as you can see, when they are here, we keep them in a very good environment, temperature control, so that we can make sure that the quality of what we are selling is good.
Within 3 years, the farmers market has opened 5 outlets. It shows Ghanaians are becoming increasingly conscious of where they get their fruits and vegetables from. It is also true that more people are developing healthy lifestyles, and that is why managers of the farmers market added on the side a smoothies, juice and salad bar.
Okay, so that is your mood booster.
Wow.
And this is my berry. The mood booster actually goes by the name. When you take it, you realize that you feel relaxed, you feel your mood has actually been boosted. So
it's a mix of apple,
it's got kiwi, it's got mint, it's got passion fruits. We've created a lot of direct and indirect jobs. If you have 5 shops that you are running, then we have a production house at the head office. We employ a lot of people. But what is very important to us is even the indirect jobs. So we're working with close to 200 suppliers, most of them farmers. And for every supplier that we work with, they are in turn employing a lot of people. And so as we create market avenues for local vendors to supply things to us, we are in a way encouraging business because each of them is employing a number of people.
The fruits and vegetables retailer is also given an assured market for local farmers, tackling in part the big headache of post-harvest losses.
You know, we work with perishable products, and so handling is extremely important. We lose, even though we try. You can see our cold ones, you can see our chillers, you can see our storage places. In spite of that, we still get wastages, things that go bad that you can't sell. And that's a big challenge. The other challenge is about cost of operations. So to run chillers, to run refrigerated vans and pay electricity for them is quite hard on us. But we are determined to ensure quality in our things, so we can't compromise on that.
Next, Bernard takes me to the rooftop to show me the future of the farmers market. Plans to cultivate most of the fruits and vegetables they retail with screenhouse technology.
The idea is that with the kind of screenhouse we are building, you can control the amount of light and then the amount of heat that goes into the house. And those are the conditions that we need to produce certain products. And so eventually most of the things that are imported are going to be done right here. The good thing about this place is that it is right in the center of a city, so we can use it as a demonstration farm. I mean, students can come for excursion to see how things are produced. And it is assuring to know that what you are buying is being done right on top of your roof, so that we harvest it from here and bring it downstairs for you to buy and eat. Of course, it doesn't mean that we have abandoned the conventional production. We have fields across that we are doing the things that we normally grow in Ghana. But this is supposed to help us cut back on importation so that we can substitute everything that is imported with what we grow here, so that we can support the economy, create jobs, and then cut out all the implications of importation on the Ghanaian economy.
With initiatives like this, Ghana's fruits and vegetables market is expected to witness a healthy growth. Meanwhile, the farmers market is looking to expand its outlets outside Accra to other major cities across the country. And that's Business Live tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll be back same time tomorrow.